Hello, Dallas. It's time to wake up and get wealthy. I'm Terry Ahrens, the Group Fitness and Wellness Director here with the family, JCC of Dallas, and I welcome you all to our show today. Today we are going to get a little smarter and a little wiser when it comes to scheduling. We're going to surrender to fall back, and learn how to just organize when it comes to scheduling and not let the schedule get the best of us. So, Katie, yay. Welcome to our show, Life Coach Katie Chavez. And I am so excited to have you on today. And thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you so much too, Terry. I'm excited to be here, and I think the jitters will dissipate as we get started. So,
absolutely. Yes. So, Katie, first of all, you're a life coach. Mm-hmm. And when we think of life coach, I start thinking under the umbrella of wellness. I start thinking about, oh my gosh, there are so many types of coaches. There's health coaches, there's life coaches, there's mindfulness coaches, and I mean the list goes on and on and on. So can you just share a little bit about what a life coach is and a little bit about your interactions with other folks and how you can support and help them?
Definitely. So do you know where the term life coach comes from?
Not really.
Yeah.
Share
okay.
it.
So when you think of a coach, back in the old days, like a literal coach that was pulled by horses, the goal was to get you from point A to point B. And that's kind of where the term coach comes from, whatever kind of coach you're dealing with. Their purpose is to get you from your point A to your point B. And so for me, I'm a life coach. And if you are a person with a mind who has thoughts and thinks about things, I can help you get from your point A to your point B. So you're right, there's all different kinds of coaches that use all different kinds of modalities, whether it's Reiki or what else is there? Like so many different things under the sun. NLP, you've heard of like different psychological practices. My expertise is dealing with your thoughts, because what I teach is that your thoughts produce a feeling in your body. Whatever you're thinking about is going to make you feel a certain way, and then depending how you feel, you're going to do certain things and not do other things. And so depending what your point B is that you're trying to accomplish, your goal, we're going to figure out what thinking is stopping you and what thinking is more helpful to get you to your goal. So.
Wow, I see. So as far as just like in general practices, is there something out there that would trigger just even for the average person on what to look for that would help motivate or stimulate? Is there something that you look for in your clients that just targets in on how to get them going in that certain direction?
Yeah, I like this question because it makes sense that we would think we need motivation. Like I need to be motivated to hit a goal, like lose weight or be healthier or eat healthier or whatever. I need to feel motivated to do this thing. But what happens when we're not motivated? Like when we don't have the feeling of motivation. Motivation is a feeling and it's fleeting, like it comes and goes. So how do we stay on track to reach our goal when we lost our motivation, when I don't feel like waking up early in the morning? And so going back to looking at what we're thinking, that is going to determine whether we get back on course when we find that we've gotten off track or gotten off the bandwagon. And that's more important than motivation, is to see, okay, at least I'm getting back on track after I've fallen off, because we're not going to stay motivated. That's the thing. So what I look for in my clients is openness. Like you have to be open to trying new things, to be willing to feel uncomfortable and like feel things that you would normally avoid or go away from. Like I don't like to feel frustrated, or I don't like to feel like it's not working. I don't like to feel these things. So we go away from working on our goal. We might go away and eat cookies, or we might go and watch Netflix. Like I'm avoiding the thing, the action that is going to get me closer to my goal, because right now that's making me feel bad. And I'm not motivated to do that. So if my client is open and curious and willing to explore like feelings that are not fun and really uncomfortable, I can help them work through that to get to their goal, their B.
Oh wow, so it's really great to get to feel that feeling of uncomfortableness and get comfortable with that feeling
Surprisingly,
of uncomfortableness.
And that's like a skill that you can get better at, like get better at feeling bad. It's not bad to feel bad. We just don't like feeling bad. And if you can get better at feeling uncomfortable, or like what you might consider a bad feeling, if you can grow in that skill of feeling bad, now it's not so scary. And now I can do the thing instead of run away and avoid it because I don't like how it's making me feel. Totally.
So now that it's fall, and we're kind of now everybody's surrendering to fall, and everybody has a lot of different activities, and it sort of changes from the summer pace. I think mostly everybody, especially if you have kids in school or dropping kids off at college. So how do you surrender to all of that as far as just like with scheduling? I mean, life becomes hectic. So what's the best way, if you have any approaches or any ideas on how to get us to stay on track and not let scheduling be so cumbersome?
Definitely. I like what you're saying about surrendering, because what comes to mind when I think about surrender is like letting go and letting whatever's going on in your life, like to let it happen, because we always come through, like we always make it to the other side. But when we're not letting go, when we're trying to control, and we're saying life is hectic and I'm so busy and everything's crazy and I have the kids and I have school and I have schedule changes and all of this. So that's a great example of when you're thinking all of this, how do you feel in your body? So if you're thinking like, oh my gosh, my life is so busy, I have so much going on, in one word, what might come to mind for you? How would you feel?
Anxious.
Yeah. Okay, so you're feeling anxious and you're like, oh my gosh, I've got so much to juggle, I can't handle it all, I'm dropping things, and you're anxious. What are some things that you're going to do while you're feeling anxious? Like you think for yourself, okay, if I'm feeling anxious, I'm going to try and prioritize maybe. I'm going to like organize things because I think I need to prioritize my life and get it all straight. Or does anything come to mind for you?
Right. Well, when I'm anxious and I feel like I have a lot on my plate, I take a moment and I like, if you saw my office, I have like Post-its everywhere. But let's say, for example, that I needed something, I could say, hey, on the third Post-it on the right of my desk,
There, yeah.
give me that phone number, it's on there. So I organize that way. It might be with Post-its, but
There you
it
go.
works for me.
Yeah.
It helps me. But also I think a lot of times when I have so many things going on, and I'm not good at saying no. So I don't know if that has something to do with it too, where you overcommit. But I think just taking a deep breath, and I write things down.
Yes, me too. It helps. Yeah, so the idea of like saying no to things and not taking on so much, but also the idea of if you can look at it as a surrender. What if I said yes and just however it goes is the way it's meant to be, and I'm okay with that? Rather than I'm going to say yes and I feel like it has to go a certain way, I have to white knuckle it, or I have to be in control of the outcome and it has to look like this. Like now it's all of this anxiety and stress and trying to control the outcome. But that's maybe a topic for another day, but like being okay with however it turns out. And what do you think about that? Why is that a failure? Why did that not go the way you thought it should? And like, because what we try to do is avoid it failing or avoid stuff from not looking the way we think it should. But if you can surrender, okay, like the kids were late this one time and tomorrow we're going to do it better because I'm learning or I'm getting into the swing of things, but I'm not going to bombard myself. I'm not going to be judgmental or criticize myself of like, this is so hard and I can't do it, or I'm so stressed. Like those are the thoughts that are going to create your experience of your life in this fall and this season.
I see. So that's, for me, that's a little bit hard to swallow.
Yeah.
Because, especially like if I'm programming or something, I want the program to, what's in my mind, I want it to, be delivered in a certain fashion. And if it doesn't go well, or I don't get enough attendance, or whatever it may be, I do though feel like, so what kind of person is this that, like, I kind of, okay, didn't work out, scrap it, but regroup and make it better, and I definitely do a do-over, like it's coming back, like 6 months from now or something, to try it again.
Yeah.
So is that okay?
So it sounds like we like to go to extremes. So you might be hearing surrender, and you're like, well, I can't just sit on my couch and like not do anything, because that's what I think of when I think of surrender. And so it's an element of trust. You trust yourself, and I know you are too. You're going to do your best, that you know. I'm going to do my absolute best to manage my schedule, to make sure programs succeed, that there's attendance. Like, you trust that you're going to do your best, and you can surrender and know that whatever the outcome is, I'm going to evaluate what worked, what didn't work, what do I want to do differently next time to improve, make it better. But I'm just going to let go of this, I have to succeed, and it has to be 100%, and I have to be in control, and it has to look like this. Like, we already know that you're going to do your best. That's what we're here, like, to do, to give it my best, to work toward my goal, to accomplish this thing. I don't think that you're going to be lazy or, like, quit halfway through. Like, I don't think you're going to do that. I don't trust that you're going to do that, and my clients either. We're here to create a result, and I know you're going to do your best at it, so you get to trust that it's going to be how it's supposed to be, and then we're going to learn afterwards and do that evaluation to make sure that we're learning and doing it better next time.
I love that. I love that. So is there some strategy behind that mindset? Like, for example, I know that some people will use like the SMART approach, as you know, the acronym for SMART, or the PACT, P-A-C-T approach. So are there any types of strategies that you use, or one that's better than the other, or does it just depend on the personality, on who you're going to suggest and push toward a certain way to organize?
Yes, I did like this question. Okay, it was kind of like this idea of effective goal setting, and there are different approaches to set a goal. And this is what I want to say about goals, actually, is, well, first think of what the question implies. So if we're thinking that there's like a right way, or a better way than this way, or an effective way of setting a goal, it's implicative that there's like this judgment of how to set a goal. But why do we set goals in the first place? Like, why do we have a goal in the first place? Like, what are some ideas? Why do we set goals?
To get to the final result, to get to whatever your plan is, to get there and make it happen.
Yeah, like to reach the goal.
Yeah,
we set a goal to reach it. Yeah.
Yes.
So what if the goal isn't actually to reach it at all?
Like what?
Like, why would we set a goal if the purpose isn't to reach the goal? Well, because considering what it's going to take to reach the goal, and also the goal doesn't even have to be attainable. It can be an impossible goal. It can be something that's not attainable. And this is why. Because it's going to require something of you. Now, a goal should not be stress-inducing. You should not have to hustle for your goal. A goal should not make you feel awful or terrible, but a lot of times we feel bad for like coming short or not hitting it, or we feel like it's never going to happen, or I have to work harder because what I'm doing isn't working. But if we scratch all that, and the goal isn't to reach the goal, if you do, great. And what are you going to do after you reach the goal? You're going to set another one, right? You're just going to set another goal.
Exactly.
Okay.
Definitely.
So, but the thing about goals is that they require you to level up. They require something of you, maybe to be more patient, maybe to be more diligent, maybe to be more excellent in what you do. So the reason you don't have your goal is because, like, who you are now, this isn't a bad thing, but you're just not capable right now of having your goal. That's why we don't have it. So we need to transform, like there's a transformation that needs to happen in ourselves in order to reach the goal. So you set an unattainable goal, and the purpose isn't to reach it anyway, it's going to get you thinking in ways that you've never thought of before. You're going to be exercising your mind because you're going to be creative, you're going to be curious. Whereas if you never set that goal in the first place, whatever it is, you would never try to aim for it. You would never like put the pieces together or try to figure out or get creative to find ways to even get close to that goal. So like even an inventor, you think of an inventor who like came up with an idea, it was something that didn't exist beforehand. Like before the light bulb existed, it wasn't there, it didn't exist, they didn't have anything to like compare or even know that I could run a 4-minute mile. Like I didn't even know that was possible. So why should I set that as a goal? Well, you don't know what you're capable of until you try and until like you'll only know what you can do until you do it. So you keep trying and look at yourself and what's required of you to reach your goal, whether it's attainable or impossible. It's going to demand something more excellent of yourself.
So I think that it really is quite like perplexing because it almost feels like, okay, do I set a goal or do I not set a goal?
Right.
Or I now classify my goals as attainable and some that I'm just going to dabble in and maybe it just makes me a better me.
Yeah, because what do you want in the end ultimately? Sure, our goal, maybe it's a number on the scale, maybe it's a dollar amount, like we want our goal, a relationship, we want some kind of outcome in our life, and when we get that, that's great. Like I say, then what's next? You're just going to set another goal, more than likely.
Right.
So who we become as a person and like the contribution that we can make to society, that's what we're after. Like what we can give back and who we can become as an individual.
I love that. I love that. So as like we said earlier, in the fall is kicking in, and you know, as we set these goals that aren't some of them just on giving back, like you just mentioned, how there's going to be obstacles that come in the way. So how do we move around those obstacles?
Yes. So I think what comes to mind for me, or that I imagine we might all struggle with or feel about obstacles, is like an obstacle is a frustration. Like I'm frustrated that happened, or this obstacle is in my way and it's a problem. Like it needs to go, it needs to move, I need to resolve this. And so first of all, like what is your thinking about an obstacle? Because I would say obstacles are normal, they're expected, they're not a problem. When you're trying to reach your goal and you encounter an obstacle, that's an opportunity to say, okay, what do I need to learn? Is this a test of my patience? Do I need to like learn how to be more patient and I'll overcome this challenge, or I'll like blast through this obstacle once I've learned the lesson that I'm supposed to, and then look at the kind of person that you become on the other side. So when you see that obstacles, they're expected, they're coming around the mountain. They're not a problem. Like your life isn't a problem. The obstacle in your life isn't a problem. It's normal. It's expected. And I'm just going to work through it. I'm going to be curious. What am I supposed to learn? How can I figure this out? What are my resources to get through this? Rather than feel awful about it or say like, oh, this is never going to work. I'm never going to get through this. And now you're on the couch eating cookies or something because you're avoiding that feeling that this obstacle is presenting to you. But it's an opportunity to learn a lesson and become that next level person who is capable of obtaining your goal.
Well, that makes perfect sense. I mean, I'm taking a lot of this
in.
This is great.
I love it. I love it.
Yes. Yeah. So also when we look at our industry, the wellness industry, the fitness industry, there's, we talked about different types of coaches out there. So there's a lot of buzz right now with the whole mindfulness approach. So a lot of the suggestions that you've just mentioned they reflect mindfulness. But can you give me or give us any more direction on mindfulness, or that's just a part of your day-to-day when you're coaching folks. So how do you implement that into our day-to-day?
Yeah, something that anybody can do on their own and might be like not a bad idea every day or regularly. So remember that if you're feeling, we're always feeling something at all times. Like I'm feeling better now. The jitters are gone. We're good. Feeling more calm. So however you're feeling, you're going to take action. You're going to do something or not do something because we always want to feel and not feel a certain way. So it's a good idea to stop and take an inventory on what I'm feeling. Maybe first thing in the morning, what am I feeling? And maybe write it down. I'm feeling peace, or I'm feeling anxious. Like what is in your body? What emotion are you feeling? Maybe first thing in the morning or throughout the day, maybe at lunchtime. How am I feeling now? Because remember, you're going to do and not do based on how you feel. Like if I'm scared, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that because I don't want to feel scared. So take an inventory on what you're feeling. And then you can ask, okay, like what am I thinking that's making me feel this way? Well, I'm thinking he's not going to take the garbage out, so I'm already feeling anxious that I have to confront him or something like that. We have thoughts in our mind that are making us feel a certain way, and then we do and don't do. So a way to be present and mindful is to sit for a moment and take an inventory. What am I feeling right now? Maybe it's a couple things. And ask, okay, what am I thinking that's making me feel this way? Another thing you can do is what we call a thought download. So set a timer for like 3-5 minutes and just write all the thoughts that are in your mind. Maybe about a situation or your day or work or a circumstance, something. Just write. Don't stop writing. Write everything out. And you'll feel better. It's nice to get stuff out of your brain instead of just like juggling thoughts in your mind. Once you get it out, like you feel better and you can see it. And it's more like practical. You're like, oh, why am I even thinking that? Like, that's not true. Or I don't want to be thinking this thought. So once you get your thought download all out on paper, you can sift through. And that is just one practice that even helps you feel better.
I love that. What'd you call that?
A thought download.
Thought download.
Yes, right. All your thoughts out. Dump all your mind out on a sheet of paper.
That seems to be like that would be really helpful. Just, even 2 minutes worth.
Yeah, and then you can get curious, like, why am I thinking that? Or where did this come from? And we're trying to understand, why am I feeling this way? Because now you can determine or decide, do I want to continue down this path? Or do I want to take a different course of action? Maybe I need to apologize to somebody. Or maybe I need to do X, Y, Z because I don't like what this thought is leading to. You get to decide.
Okay, so do you find, like, now that we're sort of pushing past COVID, do you kind of feel like, or what do you feel like now are the real challenges since we're pushing in another direction past COVID?
Yeah, and actually motivation came to mind, oddly enough, when I was thinking about this. Like, we kind of got used to or in the habit of like being at home and functioning from home, like ordering my necessities, ordering my groceries, working from home, staying at home. And so now, post-COVID, we're getting back out into the real world and being out with people. There's kind of this hump of like, oh, I don't want to. Like, oh, that doesn't feel good. Like, oh, I'm not motivated to go back into the office or go buy my groceries or interact with people, whatever that might be. And so, yeah, getting back into a routine and into the swing of things, your schedule and normal work week, there's that hump of motivation. But I think that is what came to mind for me of like the biggest new obstacle maybe post-COVID that we need to work through. And you may have put on some COVID weight. You may need to get healthy or wealthy again post-COVID. So all of that is like understanding what the reason is so that you have like a why to go out and do those things.
I see. So all of those topics that you just mentioned, I think every day to day here with the members at the J, where they're coming back, some are still hesitant to come back, but we're hoping that, soon all the members are back here. So,
yeah.
So, gosh, Katie, do you have anything else that you want to share with our viewers?
I think, let's see, I think we went over all our questions. That was really good. Yeah, I love the ideas that were presented today about coaching and being open as a client, when you're not, when you're willing to feel anything, you won't be unwilling to do anything. Like, when there's no emotion that you're scared to feel or hesitant to feel, you'll be willing or available to try anything and do anything, and you'll become unstoppable and you'll reach your goals. So
I love that. I love that. Learning to be uncomfortable to be comfortable.
yes,
is a really good thing.
It's a good thing.
Yes, yes. So thank you so much. And I think definitely we are going to need to continue this conversation with another future segment. There are so many different topics I could have, that we could have discussed today that are all under that category of just being a health coach. So thank you. And for you folks, our viewers, I want to say, remember, wake up and get wealthy. I'm Terry Ahrens. Until next time, thank you.